Creating unique frames for Canva has never been easier, and the best thing about it, the way I'm going to be showing you how to do it, it is absolutely free. So with that said, let's get to it. Hi everybody, it's Brian here. Welcome back to my channel. I hope you're all doing great. And as I stated at the intro of this video, I'm going to be showing you how you can create some really unique frames to use in Canva, particularly if you're using the free version of Canva, so that you can actually take your print-on-demand business to a whole new level with some really amazing creative designs. And the best thing about it, it's easy to do. And the way I'm going to show you, it's absolutely free. So let's head over to my computer now so I can show you how we can get it done. Okay, so welcome to my computer screen, and as you can see here, I've got Photopea or Photopea up on my screen, and I'm in the New Project section. To get to this, all you need to do is click on File and then choose New. It will obviously open this dialog box for you, and then basically you can just name the project and choose the width and the height according to your needs. For the purpose of this tutorial, I went ahead and I chose 1080 pixels by 1080 pixels. I also want to make sure that my background is set to white. It's very important for this exercise. Now, after you've selected the background as white, all you want to do is just click on Create. All right, and obviously we have our canvas open accordingly. Now, in order to create these type of frames that you can use on Canva, you can either get resources from Canva itself, the free ones. So for example, if we had to go onto Canva and create a new design, and let's just say we want custom size 1080 by 1080. All right, and then all we need to do is we need to click on elements. Okay, so let's just type in flower silhouette and see what comes up. Okay, so we've got these ones over here. These ones are obviously, if you have the paid version, I'm using the free version of Canva. So let's just try to see if we can find something free. Okay, we've got this one over here. So let's just click on this, and we've got the flower version. And what we want to do is we just want to enlarge it, and then what we're going to do is we're going to download it, and then we're going to make the modifications in Photopea. So let's just click this here, and we're just going to click share, and we're going to click download, and we're going to download it as a PNG. It's okay if it has a background in this particular case. All right, now as you can see, it's popped up at the bottom over here. Let's go back to Photopea. Now we already have our canvas here, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to click and I'm going to drag the file into Photopea. And as you can see here, we've got this flower silhouette. Now obviously you can choose whatever elements from Canva that you want to choose, obviously depending on what subscription you have for Canva. Now the first thing that we want to do is we want to flatten the image. So the keyboard shortcut for this is Control on a PC or Command on a Mac and the letter E. And when I click those two keys together, obviously these two layers are going to merge into one. So Control E, and now we have just one layer. Okay, so the next thing we want to do is we want to delete the black area of the flower. Now you might say, well, you just brought it in. Why are you deleting it? Because we want to create the frame out of the white area, which we're then going to bring back into Canva. So what I can do is I can just click on the magic wand tool, and I'm just going to click here. And as you can see now, I've got the marching ants all around the flower silhouette. And then all I'm going to do is I'm going to hit the delete key on the keyboard. And as you can see now, we've removed the black area. We know that we've done so because we've got the checkerboard pattern to show that this area is transparent. Now we need to save it as a PNG, and to do so in Photopea, we need to export it. It's not a question of just going Control S or File Save As. We need to click on File. We're going to go down to Export As, and we're going to select PNG. Now, as we save it, we're going to just name it. Let's just call it Flower for all intents and purposes, and then it's going to save. And it will save, obviously, in a particular folder on our computer. Now, when you go back to Canva, what we want to do is we want to start a new design, and I already have it set up to 1080 by 1080, which is exactly the same size as the canvas that we created in Photopea. Okay, so we're going to click Create New Design. Now that the canvas has opened, all I'm going to do is I'm going to click on the file and I'm going to drag it into Canva. We're going to let go, and as you can see, we've got the outline of the flower over there, and this area just outside of it is obviously the white canvas that we obviously imported from Photopea as well, along with the flower. Okay, so now that I have my silhouette up on the screen, I want to find a nice photo that I can put behind it in order to create this unique frame effect in Canva. So we're going to click on Photos here. I've already typed in autumn leaves here, and I scrolled down before the start of this video, and we've got this photo over here. It could be any photo that you want. I'm just using this for illustration purposes. Okay, so I'm going to click on the photo, and then obviously Canva is going to put it on the canvas. All right. And before I do anything else to it, I want to position it in the back. So I'm going to click on position, and I'm going to select backward. And obviously now the photo has moved behind the silhouette of the flower which we cut out. And as you can see, we're already starting to develop this unique frame. But we've got all of this part of the photo here which is showing out. So what we want to do is we just want to grab the handles, and we want to bring it in a little bit to make sure that the photo is entirely behind anything pertaining to the layer on top, which is in this case is the flower silhouette which we've cropped out. Okay, now how are we going to be able to do it? Because obviously if I click on the first one and move it, then obviously the frame is going to be moving around. So first and foremost, you want to make sure that the silhouette is actually over the part of the photo that you really want to highlight. Okay, so let's say for example I just want this piece over here. Well, then all I'm going to do is I'm going to grab the photo, the handle on the photo, and I'm going to click it in and drag it in. Now, what I want to do is I want to hit Control A on the keyboard to select all. So this is going to be selecting the photo beneath and obviously the silhouette on top, okay? And then I'm just going to click on Group, which is here at the top right-hand corner. And now, because of the fact that both layers are grouped, when I grab the handles, whichever handle I want, and I resize, I can make it as large or as small as I want, okay? And I can fill in the entire frame. And there we now have our unique frame in Canva, obviously with a photo or an abstract background or effectively anything that you want to use behind it, then obviously you can group with this particular frame. Now I already went ahead and did a few others just to give you an idea of what it is that you can do. So if we just click on this one, okay, this was obviously the flower. So the next one here, I found a clip art of an Indian, all right? And if I just ungroup them, you'll be able to see, if I just, hang on a second, let me click select all. All right, so if I move the frame out of the way, you can see the photo that I used, okay? And I'm just bringing it right across. And if I group it again, obviously then I can group everything together and I would have my unique frame of an Indian silhouette with a nice, lovely background. I also did one pertaining to a pilgrim. And then obviously you can also do it with text too as well. So what you can do is you can try to find a nice clip art with text. And in this particular case, it was all entirely black. And then if I just ungroup everything and move it out of the way, hang on a second. So I'm going to select all, ungroup. All right, here we go. So you can see I found this picture of the scary zombie coming out of the water. And then I just basically hovered the witch clip art over the photo, dragging it around. And I mean, you can bring it anywhere that you want to, but obviously you want to make sure that you have the entire picture, the entire clip art, obviously covering the photo. But, you know, it's all about your creativity in terms of what it is that you want to do and what you want to group together. Now, you might ask yourself, but Brian, what if I find a nice clip art that has multiple colors on it? How do I go about doing that? Well, I'm glad that you asked. I already went ahead and found something in advance. So what we're going to do is we're just going to click Control New. We're going to start something new. We're going to change our width to 1080 pixels by 1080 pixels. Okay, making sure that the background is set to white. We're going to click Create. Now, I went earlier on onto Pixabay, and there are two websites where I normally get my resources from. It's obviously either Pixabay, which in this particular case is set to clip arts pertaining to Thanksgiving, because as we know, we're getting close to the fourth quarter now. We've got Halloween, we've got Thanksgiving, two very big holidays within the fourth quarter. You've got Christmas. So effectively, this exercise that I'm showing you can be done with any holiday throughout the entire year. So you definitely want to make sure that you learn how to go about doing this, particularly if you don't have imaging editing programs like Illustrator or Photoshop or whatnot. You can use Photopea and you can actually create these very unique frames that you can utilize in Canva. But I digress. Let's go back to Photopea, and I found a clip art of a pumpkin, which I'm going to just click and drag, and I brought it in. As you can see, we've got multiple colors. So what we want to do is we want to get rid of all of the orange and green, and we want to keep the eyes, nose, and the mouth as white, so that we're going to have a black pumpkin with white triangles for eyes and nose, and obviously a white area for the mouth. which will then allow us to create a nice unique frame, a Halloween orientated frame that we can actually create in Canva. So how are we going to do that? Well, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to click on the thumbnail in the layers area, and we're going to hold the control key down. We're going to click on it again. And this, as you can see, is effectively going to be highlighting the entire clip art. As you can see, we got the marching ants all around the pumpkin. Now we want to tell the software that we want to keep everything in the selection with the exception of the eyes, nose, and mouth. Now to do that, we're going to obviously make sure that we're on the magic wand tool over here. And this time we're going to choose on minus, okay? And we're just going to click on the eyes area. And as you can see, the eyes and the nose and the mouth now have marching ants around it. That means that because of the fact that I chose minus, is deleting it from the entire selection, okay? Now, what I want to do is I can either choose the paintbrush function and just paint black over the entire clip art, or I can choose the paint bucket tool over here. I already have my foreground set to black. If it isn't, then all you need to do is just click on this area over here and it will switch. Right now, white is foreground, black is background. I'm going to click it again. I've got black as the foreground, okay? And what I'm going to do is I'm going to choose the paint bucket tool and I'm going to click anywhere inside the selection. Oh, you have to make sure that you remember to rasterize it, okay? So if you don't rasterize it, then you're not going to be able to do so. So we're just going to right click on the layer, going to choose rasterize. And now when I click the paintbrush tool, obviously now I have the pumpkin as black. I also want to have the stem black and I want to have the orange sections black as well. Now, you're going to have to go in and do a little bit of cleaning up too as well, because as you can see, we've got this orange outline over here. So I'm going to hit Control D on the keyboard to deselect, and I'm going to hit Control and plus on my keyboard to zoom in a little bit. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to choose the brush function. So we're going to hit B on the keyboard. It's too large of a brush, so we're going to hit the right bracket and we're going to decrease it. Let's get rid of this here. We're going to decrease the size of the brush. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to paint black all across the areas where there are the orange lines. Okay, so what we want to do is we want to make sure that we get a nice black sort of silhouette of the pumpkin. And we're just going to color over here. Obviously, if the brush is too large, you can decrease it accordingly. Okay. And we just got this last piece here. It's a bit too large, so let's shrink it down a little bit. Oh, Control Z if you make a mistake to go back one step. All right. Oh, we have this little bit here too. Okay, so I'm going to zoom out. And as you can see here, we've got the black pumpkin. Okay, so now what we should have done earlier on, but it really doesn't matter whether you do it at the beginning or midway or towards the end. It's important that you do it before you delete the black area, is that we need to obviously flatten down the layers. So we're going to hit Control E on the keyboard to flatten. Okay, and now what we're going to do is we're going to select the eyes, the nose, and the mouth so that we can obviously change those to a white color. I just want to use white. You can use whatever color that you want. So making sure that we are on the magic wand tool and we are set to add, we're just going to click on the eyes here, then on the nose and on the mouth. Okay, and then we go to the paint bucket tool. We're already set to white. White's in the foreground, and we're just going to click into each of the elements here, each part component of the pumpkin, and click to turn it into white. Now we've got our pumpkin, which has been colored black and white. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to delete the black area from the canvas so that I can bring it into Canva to create a very nice, unique, Halloween orientated frame. So we're just going to hit the magic wand tool, click on the black area, and hit delete on the keyboard. And now we have this frame, which we're going to bring into Canva accordingly. So we're going to click File, Export, PNG. Very important that you export it as a PNG, because if you export it as a JPEG, then you're going to lose the facility of the transparent background. You have to make sure you save it as a PNG. Okay, so we're going to call this pumpkin silhouette, or rather pumpkin frame. Okay, click on save. Okay, so let's go back into Canva. All right, we've got our canvas size set to 1080 by 1080. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to grab the file, drag it onto the canvas, and now you can see we've got the outline of the pumpkin. Now, let's assume for a moment that you are using the free version of Canva. You can't really find a nice photo that you want to use from the free catalog, Everything that they have is obviously according to the Pro version. Well, you have two options. You can either get the Pro version, which is probably not a bad idea because this is a really versatile and great platform to use. Or if you're in a pickle or maybe you don't have the money to do so at the moment, you can actually go onto websites like Pexels and Pixabay and see if you can find a nice photo background or any kind of abstract background that you can then import into Canva. So I had already gone into Pixabay here, and I found this particular photo, which looks quite interesting. I don't know if it's going to work. Sometimes it'll work, sometimes it won't. So I've already downloaded it and I brought it into Canva, as you can see over here. So I'm just going to click on it. And now it's been put onto the canvas. And the first thing that I want to do is I want to click on position and I want to send it backwards behind. All right, and we can see it's already looking pretty interesting on the pumpkin frame, but obviously we have to make some modifications to it. So we're going to enlarge it a little bit to make sure that the entire picture is covering the entire segment of the frame. And if you want to, you can move the frame around or you can move the picture around accordingly to see how you would like it to appear. All right, so let's say I'm pretty happy with that, okay? Now you want to make sure that the photo underneath is totally immersed behind the frame. So we're going to grab the handles and we're going to bring them in. And once you've done that, then what you need to do is hit Control A on the keyboard to select everything. And you know you've done that because then the word group appears here on the top right hand corner. We're going to click on group. It's been grouped together and now you can enlarge or decrease in size to your heart's content according to whatever design you're going to be creating and how prominent this particular clip art, this particular frame needs to be on your design. So as you can see, there's really nothing out there in terms of clip arts, illustrations that you effectively cannot use as a unique frame in Canva. You can basically use anything, be it a single color, multicolored, or even just something that's got a design. If it's got a very complicated design, it will take a little bit of extra time in order to get rid of everything to create it black. But as you saw, I mean, this particular pumpkin had a few colors on it. I managed to select all of it and then, deleted it accordingly and then just obviously use the paint bucket to paint those areas that I wanted to obviously delete within the frame to create this effect that you're seeing over here. So it does take a little bit of time. I'm not going to lie to you. It's a bit of trial and error. The web-based browser of Photopea can be a little bit of a learning curve to learn it. But you know what? Once you get the hang of it, basically the world is your oyster in terms of creating as many different unique frames for any holiday or any kind of topic or niche that you want to create for, that will allow you to use Canva and all of the resources that Canva has to offer in terms of helping you to create a design, so that obviously you can increase your artist portfolio in Redbubble, TeePublic, Spreadshirt, or any of the other print-on-demand platforms that you use in order to hopefully gain more sales. So I certainly hope that you enjoyed this particular episode. I hope that you got value out of it. I hope that you've learned something from it. If you did, do me a favor, smash that like button. I'd really love to get 200 likes for this video. If it's not too much trouble, I really would appreciate everybody who's watching that to click that like button. It does wonders for the YouTube algorithm. And if you're new to this channel, please smash that subscribe button. Really working hard to reach 3,000 subscribers by the end of this calendar year. And I know that with your help, I can reach that. But for today, that's all I've got. And as always, be safe, be well, be creative. Bye for now. Hey, if you enjoyed this video and you want to find out more ways that you can take your print-on-demand business to the next level, why don't you check out one of these 2 episodes I have over here. And don't forget to subscribe. Catch you in the next episode. Bye for now.